Hello everybody and welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name is Stefan, and as always, super appreciative of your patronage. We're looking at my 12-gallon long tank generally, and specifically a Peacock Gudgeon, which is another species that I'm trying out in this tank. I don't know how to say this. It's like the most beautiful tank that I haven't figured out yet, right? Except for the aquatic plants and the scape, which I guess is a lot. Livestock's just been a bit of a puzzle, some disappointments, minor tragedies actually. At one point I wanted clown killifish in this tank, and so I bought 6 clown or rocket killifish, and they all jumped. And I just figured with this intense cover, I would be all right. Plus I kept them before, and I was all right without a lid. But I found them all dried up like corn chips on the shelving one day. So at least they didn't do it one at a time, which would have drove me crazy, and them too. It was kind of a mass suicide, if you will. Then I went into sparkling gouramis, and I have 2 in here still, but I was losing them as well, and I couldn't quite account for it. It frustrated me. My parameters are terrific. You can tell by looking at the tank that it's fabulous, and that the habitat could not be more perfect for a sparkling gourami. And indeed, I did have some spawning right from Jump Street, but then that stopped. One of those fish perished. I'm not quite sure what happened to them, other than one by one, they just started disappearing, and I would find their skeletons already picked clean by the amount of shrimp and snails. And so now I have Peacock Gudgeons, a pair. This is a female, you can tell by her round belly, and there's no hump or bump at her forehead, which the male, when they're mature, absolutely does have, and I will find him for sure before this video is out and show you. Now there's one of the sparkling gouramis, right? And he or she looks great, and he has a partner, and I'm guessing it's a female. There's the male, right? See that bump on his head, that bull head? And I just fed them some live food, so I think they're feeling frisky. And I would love spawning from this pair. That's why I got a pair, right? So I think I have a pair of sparkling gouramis and a pair of Peacock Gudgeons. And you can see the live food, and maybe the time of evening, whatever it is, there's definitely a little bit of foreplay going on, if that's the right word. The female hasn't followed him to any potential nests that I've seen, so she's not ready yet, and that's fine, right? He's just gonna have to mind his business. So I've got 2 of those and 2 sparkling gouramis. Nobody in their right mind would ever say to keep those 2 fish together. They can potentially be on each other's case. I haven't seen that. I've actually seen them all sitting very close to one another, which is kind of charming. Here's a relatively good example of that, and I'm so sorry about the reflection, folks. But see the sparkling gouramis in that network of roots, which is growing so wonderfully from these emerged plants. Hygrophila coriambosa is the stem here. I've got some pothos there, creeping jenny, and then some plants kind of around the edges in little pots outside the tank. But all in all, anchoring this wonderful piece of driftwood that sits literally on top of the tank. So it forms this great ledge, and that's where the 2 sparkling gouramis were spawning a few weeks ago, before they stopped living. And I've got another excellent habitat for either of these fish, actually, and that's why I went from one similar kind of behaving fish to another. They're not the same species or anything close, but they, from, you know, from an ignorant point of view, they're very similar in that they're the same size, they have the same color schemes. Peacock Gudgeon is more showy for sure, but blues and purpley with a little yellow. I mean, so super similar, similar reputations. The sparkling gourami has a very unique way of spawning like a betta fish. There he is up there. I'm pretty sure that's a male, because they tend to stay by where they nest, where they create a potential nest, and he's always over there. But he came out for a black worm and just literally almost took it out of this gudgeon's mouth. But these spawn in little like crevices. I thought right in front they were both in here when I first put them in, and I thought, oh my God, wouldn't that be wonderful? Like literally right in front of my eyes, I could watch all that behavior unfold. But I think they moved on. They found some other real estate. And like I said, she's just simply not ready to deposit her eggs anywhere with that male. Maybe in particular, but she doesn't have much choice. It's either him or nothing. And I'm okay with nothing, because honestly, their fry are super small, and while I can immediately create an infusoria culture, which are microorganisms that are relatively easy to make, basically still water and a little bit of crud from the filter, maybe some yeast, and you'll start to get infusoria. Now here he is sort of trailing her. Yep. Someone rang on the doorbell and he moved on. So I've got this super fabulous tank. Here's the pink flamingo crypts that are starting to really do their thing. An exotic, expensive species that I got at Petco for not expensive, so that was a win. So here I have the super fabulous tank, and these two fish are doing what I want them to do, because I'm not going to add like a bunch of any other fish other than the cleanup crew, which is a autocinkless catfish and pygmy Coriadora, which you see right there, and there's an auto. So right on sync, we got the other two residents of this tank. I've got groups of both, and they're doing a great job, because I mean, I don't even have algae on some of the shaded hair grass, which would be like the first to go. The Christmas moss is bushy and good and not getting brown and mushy. Anyway, no algae, so the cleanup crew and all of these plants, right, are doing their thing, because nothing competes against algae like real plants, other plants, the plants you want. And then when you've got root structures from something like pothos pulling nitrates out of the water, you're really doing a number against the potential for algae. So I'm very happy with this tank, despite the litany of difficulties I've experienced, the clownfish, the sparkling gouramis. And I'm hoping with the regimen of live foods, and I'm really good about that for all my fish. It's fun, right? If you can find source for some live food. I raise baby brine shrimp, and I can buy the black worms at Ocean Design Aquarium. It's my favorite store in Chicago at this time, maybe for all time. If you can find that stuff, why wouldn't you feed it to them? It's really not that expensive. Obviously, it's more expensive than a jug of flake food, but it's less fun, it's less wonderful for the fish, and ergo less wonderful for me. So what do you think, guys? 12-gallon long, super fabulous plant growth. Fits and starts with the fish, but maybe I've got two winners with these Peacock Gudgeons. and perhaps the sparkling gouramis could even begin to do their thing like was originally intended. All right, everybody, as usual, keep your hands in the tank, and ciao for now.